Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 5th annual Schomburg Book Festival. We are at the Zora Neale Hurston stage, getting to see some and hear from some amazing authors of new work that's come out. If you're walking by, feel free to grab a seat. We have a couple different panels happening so far, but this is the first I get to kick off. My name is Shanelle Gabriel. I am a poet, singer, and the executive director of Urban Word, which does poetry and hip hop and the arts with young people across New York City. And the Schomburg has long been an amazing hub of culture. It's in the name, right? But definitely it's doing that work of bringing Black authors, Black and brown folk, and the work that they do into the community and holding space for all of it. So with all of that said, I'm going to bring some authors to the stage. Right now we're going to start with the first author, and I want to make sure I get the whole bio right. They are absolutely brilliant and amazing, and you're going to enjoy this. So just housekeeping, so you know, if you like anything, you are able to respond, okay? Because I always say, let's not think Roman Catholic Church, let's think Southern Baptist Church, okay? So if you like anything you hear, you can snap, you can just give a little woo, yes, nice, oh my goodness. You can do a little something, let the author know that you're there with them. Or you can be a listening audience, which is also beautiful too. Sometimes you're just like, I'm meditating on these words. Looking pensively. All right. But with all that, if you do take any photos or any of that, please make sure you tag the Schomburg Center as well. Okay. All right. Y'all ready to get started? Say yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to introduce the first person we'll be speaking with. Candace Williams is a poet and interdisciplinary artist. Their book, I Am the Most Dangerous Things, just released this year, is their first debut full-length poetry collection. So we got a brand new poetry collection in the building. Candace earned their Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Politics, and Economics from Claremont McKenna College and their Master of Arts in Education from Stanford University. They grew up in the Pacific Northwest and found love and poetry in my city, Brooklyn, New York. Now Candace lives and makes art in New England. So please put some hands together, show some love for Candace Williams.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone, hello, how are you doing? So I always start with a poem about my mom because I had excellent parenting and my mom was really the root of that. So this is Mama Said for Ellen Williams and my sister Aranda Reyes. Mama said, wake up. Mama said it's time to get ready. Mama said you'll be late. Mama said your clothes are in the dryer. Mama said get up. Mama said get ready. Mama said put your clothes on. Mama said put your clothes on right now. Mama said now. Mama said, oh, your hair is a mess. Mama said you should wear a headscarf to bed. Mama said bring her a comb and some grease. Mama said you need a new relaxer. Mama said wash the sleep out your eyes. Mama said take the chicken out of the freezer. Mama said don't forget again. Mama said don't forget lunch. Mama said, don't forget your gym shorts. Mama said, don't forget she'll be home late. Mama said, don't forget your keys. Mama said, don't forget your coat. Mama said, she doesn't work this hard for you to be cold. Mama said, don't forget yourself. Mama said, you forgot the chicken last week, and if she has to go to Popeyes again, you aren't getting any. Mama said, wait until the car warms up. Mama said, find good music. Mama said, she'll never understand people who listen to prank calls on the way to work. Mama said she'll take Gladys Knight over Babyface any day of the week. Me too. Mama said you look exhausted. Mama said your math teacher humiliates you on purpose. Mama said keep your head down and your pencil up. Mama said we work twice as hard. Mama said she works late so you can go to private school. Mama said you'll get in. Mama said you'll get in. Mama said, oh, don't walk into school crying. Mama said, oh, take a deep breath. Mama said, blow your nose. Mama said there are tissues in the glove compartment. Mama said, you can't be everything at everything. Mama said, we'll be there in 2 minutes. Mama said, summer is almost here. Mama said, you'll sleep in. Mama said you should splash water on your face before you go to class. Mama said, we're here. So thank you so much. So I just have to say the Schomburg is so important to me. I think that I wouldn't be here without the Schomburg. This work wouldn't be here. It's really about the past and how it relates to the present. So this poem is completely different than the last. It'll be my last one before we chat. This poem is called Black Body. Black body. An ideal body is now defined, called a black body. The black body is a perfect absorber. Robert Siegel and John R. Howell, Thermal Radiation Heat Transfer, Volume 1. A body can be perfectly black, meaning it absorbs all radiance, all heat and light waves that fall upon it. A black body is perfect because it is a perfect absorber. All waves that strike its surface pass into the body, and the body absorbs them internally. Nothing striking the black body passes through the body's edge. Nothing striking the black body is reflected back into the environment. The black body is perfect. It is opaque. It is not defined by its size or shape. It might not be black at all. The color black absorbs all wavelengths of light that fall upon it. The black body is named for its presumed blackness to the naked eye, but a black body can be red or blue or another color. The blackness is theoretical. The black body is theoretical, a device used to give body to abstractions. Perfect black is a theoretical ideal. It has not been observed, but exists for the sake of comparison. For the sake of comparison, the opposite of a black body is a white body. A white body reflects all waves perfectly in all directions. The albedo scale compares white bodies and black bodies. Albedo comes from Arabic's akbayad. Akbayad roughly translates to whiteness. Albedo is a measure of reflectivity and brightness. Scientists say the albedo effect is warming our planet beyond safety. Said another way, the whiteness effect is warming our planet beyond safety. 91% of Fortune 500 CEOs are white men. Outdoor air pollution has risen 8% in the past 5 years. The Arctic is melting. The white ice is falling into the dark reflective sea, turning reflective surfaces into heat absorbers. It's getting warmer. By it's getting warmer, I mean that in 2010, 10,000 scorched to death in Moscow. By it's getting warmer, I mean that it was 116 degrees in Portland last summer. By it's getting warmer, I mean that by 2080, 3,300 will scorch to death each year in New York City streets, and half of those buried will be black. It's getting warmer, and I wonder about white men in boardrooms. I wonder about the PowerPoint presentations and profit diagrams. On the diagram, the blue line is profit. The black bodies pile under the blue line over the axis of time, and the blue line rises. In the boardroom, the black body is the ideal. We absorb perfectly. Thank you.
And you picked one of my favorite poems that I read in this book to read today. So my mama said all of that, okay? All right, so excited to be talking with you. And audience, just so you know, we're gonna have a Q&A at the end. So if you're hearing things and you have questions, keep them bubbling in your mind so we can have a nice little extra dialogue at the end. All right, so yes, everyone, I am the most dangerous thing. Now, this is your first collection, but I know you've done a lot of work. Your work has been released in other spaces. But what made the process of this different? What was it like? What was the uniqueness of this process of putting all of this together?
Honestly, I started writing poetry in 2016, and the only thing that kept me writing was spaces like Schomburg and free workshops and all of that. And so I released actually a chapbook a few years ago, and it sold out right away. And everyone was kind of saying, oh, you should just do a full length, like that was an easy thing. And so what I've done is I really just took my time. COVID was really rough, but it just gave me time to sit back and really think about this collection and the ideas that I really want to be at the forefront. And I feel like I just learned to kind of sit with my work a bit longer and put it in the right order. And also to find a press who really believed in the book Alice James Press really believed in this book, and you could totally tell just flipping through it. They spent a lot of money printing, like white text on black ink. They secured this incredible cover art. So it's just been a great process.
No, it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, that's something that I did notice. You had so many, you had so many different artifacts, kind of, if you look at the book, it's visually, as you read through the book, there's so many things you did very creatively, visually, with your poems on text. And I noticed there were a lot of facts and citations and artifacts. Was that a part of, was that initial research that was inspired you to create that? Were there moments where you're I actually want to know, is this true? Did you do that? And what was what was that process?
That's such a great question. So I lived in Crown Heights for quite some time, and I went to the New York Public Library site. They have a site where you can click a map and you see an old photo. So I was clicking around. I was like, oh, there's a pasture, or there's some cows. Okay. And then I get to my block, and I clicked on it, and it was a penitentiary. It was Crow Hill Castle. And so then I spent about a lot of time actually going to the library, reading the archives, and just learning about Crow Hill Castle, who was there, why was that prison there. Basically, the prison was where I slept at that time. And after going through that process, that taught me that the archive is incredibly important. And also shout out to Alice James, because they had to do fact checking on this book, and they probably spent about 2 months just reading it line for line and making sure that all the facts were there. And I think that they gave me a lot of confidence in that knowledge too.
Okay, so we're fellow geeks, just kind of just
total nerds, just total nerds, yeah.
Just geeked out on all this. I mean, there's so much facts and so much culture in our communities, in Harlem, in Brooklyn, and even that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go Google that, because I didn't even know that initially. And so you did a really good job in balancing Black joy and Black struggle, because it very easily can lean on one or the other, in a lot of different people's writing. How did you do that balance? How did you because you really did, there are moments where, for example, the mommy poem, where it's there's some moments in there where you're that's probably not great advice, mommy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But also knowing that that's part of our culture, there's a culture of survival. But then we have these moments where you're also we're amazing. Do you not see how amazing we are? How are you able to do that balance? Because that's a very hard balance to do, to get these facts and still not leave your reader feeling oh my gosh, struggle.
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, I could probably write a PhD on this, because I need to do some more reading about it. But I leaned a lot on the work of Morgan Parker. She is one of my favorite poets, a fellow Black poet. For a long time, she was a Brooklynite, and now she's in LA. And we had a conversation, and she talked to me about reading over, and how often when people read our poems, they read over things and they totally skip the whole experience of it, right? So I've gotten a lot of comments about my poem when I was 12, because I'm talking about a lot of things in that poem. But one thread is that people of color, Black people, and women are often put in a position to take a lot of pharmaceuticals. And sometimes those pharmaceuticals are excellent and help us, but sometimes it's just a tool to kind of make us not talk about certain things. And a lot of women who are white will come up to me and talk about that, and I'm very thankful for that. But sometimes I'm just did you not read the line about, the ship crossing the Atlantic, and about how a lot of this is colored by Blackness too, and how even though we have that same experience, that there is still a division in that experience. And so after I had that conversation about reading over, I kind of just had to realize that people are going to take from my poems whatever they want to take, and that what I have to do is just make sure that no matter what, I am the most dangerous thing, and I am giving people my full Black queer experience. And that's all of that I can do.
That part. And I think that's so important, because a lot of times we do think of Black writers and Black art as something that is only consumed by Black folk, or something that people are hyper aware, I need to make sure that other people can read this too, and so it has to be very spelled out, right? And I think you did. I think in adding some of those facts, adding those artifacts, adding some of the backstory, adding so much elements of very much who you are and your experiences. We have school experiences, we have church. You brought up church. I was like, ooh, oh boy, church is here too. You know, bringing those cultures in. It definitely is important for us to all be like aware of like how we connect to each other, but also the otherness that needs to be recognized.
Definitely.
You know, so I applaud you on that. I have a question just because it was one of the first things that stood out to me. Now, if you're looking for affirmations, you can get this book because there was a couple things I pulled out and was like, I need to put on a Post-it note and stick on my mirror. I'm going to do that this summer. I see people doing it and I keep saying I'm going to do that. Like,
my sister actually does that all the time. She has this beautiful vision board that she does, so I would totally recommend it. It's great.
Well, there was one I was going to take out. And it just stood out to me. The first step to finding your self-worth is breaking yourself into units. Was that a continuation of desire?
Yes.
Okay. I would love for you to explain like what you were thinking in that line, because that line struck me the moment I read it, and I didn't forget it. Like I remember seeing it the first time and wanting to put it up there. I know the whole poem explains it, of course, but I'm just curious.
Should have read that one. I was on the fence about reading that one.
You should have read it.
Should have read that one. I think that was one of the first times. I think that was like honestly the 5th or 6th poem that I ever wrote. And I think that it was the first time when I started to think about capitalism and what it's done to Black people, and how, you know, hundreds of years ago, I think our primary units were, well, this is actually a lie, right? Because we all know people talk about the physical labor, but we've brought intellectual labor to this country from day one, and often that is overlooked, right? And so I feel like growing up, having the privilege of being a knowledge worker, I think this book is really talking about there's physical work and there's knowledge work, and how there's a thread that all of those things in all of our lives start with people breaking us down and taking out the pieces that they want. And later in that poem, I think the big turn in that poem, it's like, but you never left that market. The market is your bedroom. The market is last night's dream. The market is your love. So we can talk about markets of enslaved people, which were all around the city even, but the market is still here. Like, I'm still living in it.
No, that is so important. I think, it just stood out to me because thinking about breaking people down and breaking into components around all this conversation we have so much conversation around self-care and self-preservation and preservation of our ideas, our intellectual property, those kind of conversations, AI, all these things. All the world is, starting to make little things easy to consume by others, right? So it was just interesting, the idea of being able to break down yourself and how self-worth is not always self-reflected.
Absolutely.
And I going back to the idea about Black joy and Black struggle. Nothing is either. I feel like there's a lot of times we polarize things, but I think sometimes we see both. And I'm going to ask you a fun question. So what was the most joyful and maybe the most hard thing about creating this work?
It's interesting that I couldn't even start to write poems until 2016 because I was just broke all the time and I had to work. I was a teacher, I had to work all these extra jobs, I didn't have safe housing, and so I think it's kind of a bittersweet thing that I got to write this book, but also it just took me having the privilege of being financially stable. So I think in the book, I talk a lot about financial stability and capitalism. And I think capitalism to this day for me is probably the hardest thing to deal with, probably the most dangerous thing in my life. So just capitalism and dealing with that. I think the most joyful thing, honestly, is this, just being able to speak to people and having conversations about things in our lives that hurt us and help us. So just being able to connect around these ideas, whether people agree with me or not.
That's important. And I want to just dig a little bit into that because I think capitalism is defined by multiple people. I've actually gotten really, really great debates with family members about what capitalism is and how helpful or not helpful it is, depending on who you are and where you are in your positionality. But just how do you feel that that's affected your writing in that side or affected this process, capitalism? Just you mentioned it. I know there's multiple ways, but just I know I would be amiss to not recognize that there might be another author in this space that might want to understand what that process was as they're continuing thinking about maybe publishing or maybe writing something somewhere.
I mean, it just comes down to a lot of privilege. I feel like I have the privilege of having of having had jobs now for the past few years that really pay me enough to eat and sleep somewhere safe. And so getting that, people ask me a lot, I got into the MFA program at NYU and I decided to turn it down and teach. And people are like, well, why did you do that? I'm like, well, because I couldn't have more debt, right? I'm still paying off all my master's debt.
That part.
And so I think for me, it's finding stability. People will ask me, well, should I do the MFA or not? Or should I do this or that? And I'm just like, how can we get you financially stable so that you can actually dream and just have Sundays off and be able to think about things that you've seen? Because I believe that we're all artists. Like everyone here right now, you're all artists and you're all writers. We're all incredibly smart. It's just that most of us don't have the time to really reflect and think. And I think that's actually a feature of this capitalist system.
There you go, period. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. But also, you got snaps for that one. But also, I think I know you said this is a part of the joy. I'm just curious, what about this? What is it about? Is it just that this book is existing in people's spaces? Or is it, something is it something else,
I think it's the human connection. And I think COVID has taught me how to get that in a lot of different ways. I still do virtual readings and virtual spaces. And honestly, I love virtual and I love in person, but it's just the fact that we're all human beings. And I think that social connection is incredibly important. And I think like the fact that I get to read this all to you is just a privilege and it's a joy. So.
All right. So just making sure if you're having questions, the Q&A is coming up soon. So make sure you are all thinking about those questions.
I love a good New Yorker question. They're always so good.
A New Yorker question, because we go straight for it.
Go straight for it.
That's literally the element of New Yorkers. We very much, people say we're mean, and I say we're not.
No, we're not. Okay, I have a lot to say about that.
Go ahead.
That's all I think.
Tell us.
So I grew up in Seattle, and I live in New England right now, and people ask me, oh, New York, it's this, it's that. I'm like, I've met some of the kindest people in New York. It's just that there's no nonsense. There's no this and that. It's like, oh, you fell down, let me help you up, and maybe I'm not going to talk to you ever again, but we've had this experience, and I don't know, I just love New Yorkers, and I still wish that I was one, but I still kind of think that I am, even though I'm in New England.
Oh no, you can't get away from it. It's a wrap. Once you hear, it goes with you everywhere, and I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and I see talk about Crown Heights. That's my old stomping grounds. I'm a Flatbush girl, but I stomped around there. But I used to always tell people when they said New Yorkers were mean, I said, ask for directions. Everyone, we like to know things. That is a New Yorker trait. We like to know everything. So thank you for bringing that up. So my other question, so you have, I mentioned before, you have so many reflections on different authority figures, education.
I really hate authority, if you can't tell.
Quote, unquote, yeah.
I really hate it.
Because is it really authority if I can do whatever I want anyway?
Yeah.
But yes.
And I think my mom and my dad are just such great parents, and I'm kind of shocked that it happened, because I imagine parenting me, and I'm like, yikes, that must have been a nightmare. Because just from day one, I was like, really? I think probably my third word was actually, probably. And it's funny because my niece and my nephews, same. I remember when they were just tiny, maybe toddlers, they were like, actually. And I was like, you know what? This is a family thing, and I see now, and I really don't like it.
But I think what's great is that we give our parents grace, and I think that's something that we don't always do. And I see the love in those moments where you're talking about different people. Of course, there's some people that kind of got shot down.
Joseph Conrad, the writer, got shot down.
Definitely. There's some.
That was like a diss track against the Heart of Darkness. So.
Definitely, it was like a nice moment. Yeah, it was the ether, the Nas's ether on that. But I guess I wonder, was there in the title, I Am the Most Dangerous Thing? I'm trying to form my question because I wrote it down and I didn't write it down here on this paper. So when you think about the title, The Most Dangerous Thing, and we think about authority, quote unquote authority figures, what is the threat of the actually? Just curious on your thoughts. Because you are the most dangerous thing. Why is the actually the threat?
My favorite job that I've ever had was being a middle school teacher in New York City.
God bless you.
I loved it, and people would always say, how do you do that? Middle school is so hard. I'm like, middle schoolers are the best, and it's because they're not afraid of actually, and why? are their primary modes of thought, and I think that that's incredible, and it's my job as an educator to kind of help them keep doing that and to elevate that. And I think, you know, in terms of capitalism and misogyny and homophobia and all these things that impact me in a really negative way, even just thinking about my ancestors in the Black and the queer community, the idea that it's like, actually, like, I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to have ideas, and you might not like them, but actually I'm here, so like, deal with it. But also, actually, I chose this title because I am the most dangerous thing means a lot of different things, and sometimes I am the most dangerous thing to myself and to my community, and I have to hold myself accountable for that. Or sometimes it's I am the most dangerous thing because I am going against authority, but I kind of chose it because it means so many different things.
Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Well, everyone please give a round of applause to Candace Williams. So now I'm going to open the floor for some questions, if there are any questions in the audience. I know you were all listening and you gave such amazing answers, so maybe we don't have questions, but I hope we do. Is there any questions in the audience? There we go.
Oh yeah, Harlem Renaissance is everything. So during COVID-19, I decided to read Henry Louis Gates. He has the Norton Anthology of Black Art and Writing, and I just started on book 1, and I'm still on book 1 because those are 2 huge volumes. But honestly, I wasn't exposed to many Black artists in school, but luckily Langston Hughes was one of the few, and I think that his life and his work have impacted me in so many ways. Yeah, just Langston Hughes, thinking about that time, I've been reading in the anthology, Georgia Douglas Johnson, Richard Wright, just people who had to deal with a lot of surveillance and a lot of the issues that I deal with, but in a different way, and who really had the courage to be dangerous to the point where there's a full government program to try to shut them down.
And I think thank you for bringing that to space and those influences. We have so much culture that we don't always pay attention to here that's based in Harlem, but even just in general, folk that were not in Harlem, but all over and the diaspora and queer writers that didn't always get that love back then, but now we revere, or it's in every single school system. So thank you for bringing that. And any other questions? Do we have any other questions for the author? Going once, going twice, it's like communion. Has anyone been overlooked? Overlooked. All right.
Thank you so much.
I will say this. We're gonna actually off. Do any of you have this book? Just want to see that. Oh, see, so that's exactly why I'm asking that. If you go to the Schomburg table, the Schomburg shop, you can actually get a copy of this book.
Great.
But what I'm actually going to do is give away this book that's in my hand to a lucky person out there. Now,
how are you going to do this?
I know, this is a struggle. I was trying to figure it out before I got on here, and I did not figure this out. So this is real-time Shanelle figuring things out. She said the person that asked the question, you know what?
Let's do it. Let's do it. You know what? All right.
Everybody, you're going to give it to the person that asked a question. And I'd like to read your name, Angela. Angela is the winner of this, as well as the lovely little tote bag on behalf of the Schomburg Center. And please, we'll be doing a book signing, as well as you can get this for sale at the Schomburg shop. So please, we have a little bit of time between now and the next panel, but I want to say thank you so much for your words, for your writing.
Questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Schomburg. We have another panel coming up. Hold on, what time? At 1:30. My watch says low battery, so I have no clue what time it is right now, which is so helpful for my watch, right?
Yeah.
But at 1:30, we'll be getting started with the next person, Cynthia Manning, who will be coming, the author of No Sweet Without Brine. So I will see you in a few seconds.
Thank you so much.
I will get you your bag. Be right back.